Seems like there's been a bit of a theme macro-wise in terms of the NFL and preseason, John, in terms of the emphasis on practice, maybe more than preseason games. Case in point, New England, for example, saw no Mac Jones and other real starters in their game with the Giants. Are kind of saving it for these joint practice things. So sit tight real quickly. We're going to hear from the hoodie, Bill Belichick, on this very topic.
Yeah, in some respects you do. We had a couple great situations come up in the game against the Giants. The Giants got the ball at the end of the half, and they, they were backed up, and they drove the ball and got it, around midfield, and then they couldn't quite get into field goal range, and ultimately, kind of had a Hail Mary situation at the end of the half that, they ended up scrambling on. And then same thing at the end of the game. We took the lead. They came back. But, a lot of our players obviously weren't in there in those situations. So, the great thing about practice is, our players get more opportunities at those situations, especially guys that probably have a higher chance of being in there during the regular season than that were in there at those 2 points in the Giants game, as an example. In the end, the games have a lot of value, too, because of the, it's a game and it's structured differently, but there's certainly a lot to be gained in practice. So they're both really important.
Breech, is it just me or does that sound like an ecstatic Bill Belichick? What do you make of his comments?
That's as ecstatic as he gets, Tommy. I mean, it does feel like that. Look, if the hoodie's saying it, it must be true. A lot of coaches are now putting a lot more stock into these joint practices. We have seen them just blow up really over the past 5-6 years. And this year alone, we have more than 25 teams participating in a joint practice at least once this preseason. I think a reason that coaches love it so much is because they control the environment. We heard Belichick say, hey, there was a Hail Mary situation at the end of in the game. Well, you don't get to have your starters in there practicing a Hail Mary in the first quarter because that's usually when they're playing in a preseason. So when you're in a joint practice, this allows you to practice these key situations against opponents and not against your own players. So Belichick can say to the Giants, hey, let's practice a Hail Mary with the starters, or hey, let's practice a 4th and 10 situation. You get a lot of situational football in there with the guys who are going to be playing during the season. And look, we saw the Dolphins do this too. Mike McDaniel's a big fan of it. He said Tua got so much playing time in the joint practices with the Buccaneers that he didn't need to play in the game this past weekend. So I think this is only going to get more popular, and we're probably going to get to a situation where all 32 teams are doing these joint practices. And yeah, we came close this year with, I think, 26 out of 32 doing joint practices.
All right, Patriots and Panthers, the joint practice for them this week. Thanks, Breech.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.